Hi, Zach. Um, Now that the CDC has announced that vaccinated people don't have to socially distance or wear masks, does that change your approach in meetings and in practices?
No, we still follow the NFL protocols. So until that changes, we'll continue to follow what they send us.
And year three is shaping up like you're probably finally going to have a normal off season. How much are you looking forward to that?
Well, it hasn't been normal so far. We've still been on Zoom, so it would have been nice to have them the last couple of weeks, but it's been good. Our players have been great. We've been meeting with them the last couple of weeks. It was good to finally get on the field this weekend. We'll have some guys out there next week as well, which is going to be fun. So, but like you said, it is getting back to somewhat some normalcy here, and that's been fun for us.
Coach, was there anything out there that caught your eye? Any one person, any one thing that kind of made you say, "Oh"?
We got bigger. I mean, you look at some of those linemen on both sides of the ball, and there's some size there. So it's just fun to get those guys on the field. I don't want to have any over-the-top reactions one way or the other based on one rookie practice. I know those guys are anxious, excited, nervous to get out there. It was a great day, as you guys saw. It was fun to be out there. I'm glad that the weather cooperated with us. And, again, we'll get these guys next week. But I think it was a solid start for the rookies.
Zach, this is actually my first rookie minicamp period. So I'm curious to see what are you hoping to learn as a coach? Like, what do you guys look for in rookie minicamp? Like, what's the goal you guys want to accomplish?
Well, it's your first chance to see. We've only been able to meet one-on-one with a couple of these guys. We haven't really met with these rookies yet. Haven't been allowed to. So you just get a chance to see kind of what they're familiar with as they go on the field for the first time. Again, you don't want to overreact to the first day one way or the other. But aside from that, you get a chance to look at your free agents and your tryout guys. That usually is what comes from the rookie camp. I think over the last couple of years, rookie camp has really been scaled down. When I first came in the league, it was a 3-day adventure. It was like a real mini camp. You're having 2 days and you were meeting all day. And now it's just a little bit, let's get out there and see some of these trial guys and free agent guys and form some opinions on them. And then we'll have the rookies again on the field next week, which will be good.
Coach, sometimes, you get during the rookie camp, you get to see, hands on, eyes on, okay, does their physicality on the field here match what I saw on tape, foot speed, quickness, all that sort of thing. But then the mental part of it, now you get to see what they retain from the grease board to the football field as you're doing installation and all that. Is it equally important, the mental and physical initial stages of it as you're evaluating these guys?
I just think it is different because of COVID right now. We're really getting these guys probably 2 weeks later than you normally would. I think, the first chance on the field with them, your vets and your rookies really. And so now you're checking to see who's in shape and how far we have to go with some of these guys, just because, again, it's training has been different these last 2 seasons with these guys. And so, yes, you want to get a feel for the mental, how well they do out there. You also want to get a feel for, okay, we're going to have a couple weeks with these guys. What's each of their starting point right now, and how do we make sure that they're in good condition as we get through the offseason program. We're able to get good work with them on the field. And so that's as much as anything else. It's just kind of judging out there for the first day, what kind of shape are these guys in?
Zach, what kind of expectations do you have for the beginning of OTAs in terms of turnout, in terms of what that will look like on your end? Is that kind of still unknown until you get there?
Well, next week is phase 2. So it's really our first chance to get on the field with the players per the new guidelines of the NFL that they sent out a couple weeks ago. And I expect that to be primarily rookies. And so that'll be good to get those guys for 4 days, get them out on the field and do very similar to what you just watched. And then the following week is when OTAs start. May 24th is when they report. And I've gotten great feedback from our veterans. We've been in constant communication over the last couple of weeks. And those guys feel like we have a lot of work to put in, to be the team that we talk about being and to get some stuff done this offseason. I've been really impressed with the leadership on our team of those guys have communicated to me that we feel like we got a ways to go and we got to get on the field and get some work in. And so excited for that week to come and we'll get some good OTA work.
There's also a lot of guys a lot of guys out there that are living out a dream and maybe may not make it, but as a former player yourself, it just has to be rewarding for you to see those guys having the opportunity.
It is, you forget what it's like for these guys to walk into an NFL locker room and see an NFL helmet. They've played Madden their whole lives, since they were probably 6 years old. And I think we can all relate to that of, waking up on a Saturday morning and playing Madden as a young kid. And now all of a sudden you're in a locker room with that same logo that you've seen over and over and over. And it is exciting for those guys, so that part, we had a Zoom meeting last night. I was able to talk through some of that stuff with them, the expectations now that they're Bengals. But like you said, there are some guys that, dreamed about this moment, and who knows if it's going to be a long career or a short-lived career. But we preach these guys, make the most of the opportunity. You're representing the Bengals now, and everything that you do, put your best foot forward every single day. You only get one chance to make a great first impression. Be coachable, and so far we've had great attitude from all the rookies.
Thank you.
Today was also the first day for some of your new coaches. With Troy Walters, what has impressed you during his first few months on the job?
Well, I've been around Troy so much. We coached together at Texas A&M, and then last year just as the assistant receiver coach. Typically both receiver coaches are pretty hands-on. So, Troy's always impressed me from really the last 10 years, I guess. But he's done a great job, today with those rookie receivers and some of the trial guys, and he played the position. He's got a great understanding of what to ask from them and how to coach each guy a little bit differently. So I've always been impressed with Troy. Really happy to have him in that position. And Brad Quaigthorpe, also has moved up to that assistant receiver job. And Brad's a really impressive coach. Very detailed, knows the ins and outs and of really multiple positions. But he'll be primarily with the receivers this year. And then Justin Hill, got the running backs. He got the two guys he got to mess around with today. And he's been fun to be around the last 4 months. Really sharp guy. It's his first year in the NFL. And he's a very quick learner. And all the reasons we hired him have come to fruition so far. Frank Pollock, Frank and Marion were grinding those guys. They were the ones that had multiple guys at their positions. There's nothing like a good hour of individual work, with the big offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Those guys got the most out of the guys today. And so just really excited by what they've done. And then we also have Louis Chofie. Louis joined us on defense. He's been here before. Louis is a veteran in this profession and have really been it's been a lot of fun getting to know him better and seeing his interaction with the staff. He's really impressive and brings some really good qualities to our entire staff, not just the defense. So it's been a joy to work with those guys so far.
Now that you mentioned Crackthorpe, it actually did cross my mind. Probably an underrated part of this whole process during the draft. He was there at LSU when Chase was there as well. How much did you kind of lean on Brad throughout that process? And especially after you promoted him, and what was that input like as y'all got ready for the draft?
Yeah, Brad's been great. Really over the last 2 years, he's been around a lot of those LSU guys that came out and were in the draft and then coached against a lot of guys in the SEC as well. And so, he's got a good eye for talent. He's a really good young coach. He's got a really bright future. So yeah, we lean on Brad quite a bit there for a lot of the information the LSU get. Mike Potts is our scout down there and always does a phenomenal job. And Brad has done a great job supplementing that information.
Also, speaking of one of your former LSU guys now on the roster, obviously, Burrow was kind of hurt, still in the rehab process. Is there a way to maybe get him involved in OTAs without him, with it still kind of being with the rehab process? What does that blueprint look like if that's the case?
Yeah, that's something we talked through. I don't have a lot more information today on that, but it is something that we discuss on a weekly basis, and we'll just continue to go with this rehab and see where he's at.
Coach, any impressions of I know it's kind of early and it's a bit obscure, but just watching the guys catching punts, I don't know if anything went through your mind. You kind of need a guy there suddenly, and I just wonder what you thought when you saw what you had over there.
For those of you that watched, it was impressive. It was 4 guys catching a lot of punts, no balls on the ground really until the very end, when we made them carry multiple balls and juggle and do the fun things that it's fun to sit there and watch and not have to actually do it. But I was impressed. All 4 of those guys did a nice job. You're right. We need some competition there at that position, with Alex leaving. And so that's something that you'll see battling all through the offseason and training camp and finding that guy that can do that.
What have you been working on with Chris Evans so far?
Chris is trait I think that is different than a lot of other running backs in the league is just his ability to catch the football, and he's a very natural route runner out of the backfield and even split out. That's one of the things that really jumped out to us at the Senior Bowl was just how dominant he was in those one-on-ones and how natural and easy it looked for him. So today you probably saw us moving him around a little bit out there to get a better feel for him in person. And he did a nice job. He seems like he's smart. He understands it. He can retain the information. It makes sense to him. And then he went out there and made some nice catches today.
2 more minutes. Does anyone have anything?
Zach, what was the first Madden you played? And you brought it up earlier. What was your first Madden you remember?
It was on Sega for sure. Probably 92. I can remember my friend Brett Baptist. I can remember playing at his house. He'd wake up on a Saturday morning, and I think I was typically like I'd be Green. He was a Packer fan for whatever reason. I don't know. His brother was a Packer fan, and so we usually be Green Bay versus Dallas probably, and always a snow game. Always make sure you got the snow on the field, and there's just what a great era that was. Just early 90s playing Madden on Saturday morning.
Was that the Genesis back then?
Say that again. It might have been
the Genesis, or is it
Super Nintendo maybe?
I think so. Yeah, that would have been Genesis came out afterwards. So
same era. Which one do you prefer, the Genesis or the Super Nintendo?
I was more of I had a Sega Genesis. Brett had the Super Nintendo, so I had to go to my friend's house to go play the other one. So I wasn't so lucky.
So is a PlayStation or Xbox at your residence now? I know your kids play.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, do they ever? They play Xbox. They play on their iPad. They play Madden. I mean, they know. What's interesting is Brooks and Luke. They know the history of the NFL. I mean, Brooks, if you ask for his top 10 receivers in NFL history, he's going to name people I don't know who they are. So it's. He's going to throw Steve Largent in there. Why in the world does he know who Steve Largent is? And I do because he's an Oklahoma guy. But so he's really impressed. I don't know what the game is. I don't look at it. I don't know how they do it, but it's fun. They have a great understanding of the NFL. I hear them talking about the salary cap now. And so they're 10 years old. Him and his friends are talking about the salary cap, which is interesting to listen to.
Does Brooks ever give you is he run stuff on Madden, be like, hey Dad, this is kind of working for me against the Steelers. Would you want to try this out on Sunday?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He complains about how we run mesh. We run it wrong. He runs it right. So yeah, he diagrammed it for me one time. He took out a napkin and drew up the play on how he wanted to do it, and he wasn't, trust me, I'm not listening to my 10-year-old son on how I should run the offense, but he wasn't teams do run it the way that he suggested. So it's been fun to watch his involvement in football.